Emma had always believed that life was best lived according to a schedule. Every weekday she woke up at 6:30, got dressed for work, and stopped at the same little coffee shop before heading to her office. The café was cozy, filled with the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee and soft jazz music that made every morning feel peaceful. It had become her favorite place, even if she usually sat alone. That Monday morning, however, nothing went according to plan. A heavy rainstorm had filled the café with customers trying to escape the weather. Emma glanced nervously at her watch. She was already running late for an important presentation, and her mind was racing with thoughts of unfinished work. After collecting her usual caramel latte, she quickly turned toward the exit without noticing someone walking in. Crash! The coffee cup slipped from her hands, spilling hot coffee all over the white shirt of a tall young man standing just a few feet away. Emma's heart nearly stopped. "Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry," she exclaimed, grabbing napkins from a nearby table. "I wasn't paying attention. I can't believe I did that." She expected him to be angry. Most people would have been. Instead, the man looked down at his stained shirt, then back at her with a warm smile. "It's okay," he said gently. "No one plans to start their morning with a coffee shower." Emma couldn't help but laugh through her embarrassment. "I'm serious," she said. "Let me pay for the cleaning." He shook his head. "I think I'll survive. Besides, now I have a funny story to tell." His kindness immediately eased her anxiety. "My name is Daniel," he said, extending his hand. "Emma, it's nice to meet you, Emma, even under unusual circumstances." They both laughed. Seeing that her coffee was gone, Daniel walked back to the counter and ordered 2 fresh drinks. "You don't have to do that," Emma protested. "I know," Daniel replied with a smile. "But I want to." A few minutes later, they found an empty table near the window. Outside, raindrops gently rolled down the glass while people hurried through the streets with umbrellas. What started as an awkward apology slowly became one of the easiest conversations Emma had ever had. Daniel told her he worked as an architect and loved designing buildings that made people feel at home. Emma shared that she worked in marketing but secretly dreamed of becoming a novelist one day. They talked about favorite books, childhood memories, family traditions, and places they hoped to visit. Every topic seemed to lead naturally into another. Time passed so quickly that neither of them noticed nearly an hour had gone by. Finally, Emma glanced at her phone and gasped. "I've completely lost track of time." Daniel looked at his watch and laughed. "So have I. My boss is probably wondering where I disappeared." They stood up together, both smiling. "It was really nice meeting you," Daniel said. "You too." For a brief moment, both of them considered asking for each other's phone number. But hesitation got the better of them. Instead, they simply wished each other a good day and walked in opposite directions. As Emma reached her office, she realized she wasn't thinking about the meeting she had almost missed. She was thinking about the stranger who had responded to an accident with kindness instead of anger. Meanwhile, Daniel couldn't stop smiling during his drive to work. He had met countless people over the years, but there was something different about Emma. Her honesty, gentle nature, and warm laugh stayed with him throughout the day. Neither of them knew it yet, but fate had only just begun writing their story. What seemed like an unfortunate coffee spill was actually the first chapter of a beautiful journey, one that would prove that sometimes the smallest accidents lead to the greatest blessings, and that a single cup of coffee can change 2 lives forever.
Weeks passed after Emma and Daniel's unforgettable meeting at the coffee shop, but neither of them could forget the other. Every morning, Emma found herself stopping by the same café, secretly hoping she might see the kind stranger again. She told herself it was only because the coffee was good, but deep inside, she knew the real reason. Daniel was doing the very same thing. Whenever his work schedule allowed, he visited the café around the same time they had first met. The friendly barista noticed both of them returning regularly, smiling quietly as if she knew a secret they didn't. Still, fate made them wait. Then, one sunny Saturday afternoon, Emma visited a local bookstore looking for inspiration for the novel she had always dreamed of writing. As she reached for a book on the top shelf, another hand reached for the very same novel. She looked up. "Daniel." For a second, neither of them spoke. Then they both laughed. "I can't believe it's you," Emma said. I was beginning to think I'd imagined our first meeting, Daniel replied with a grin. This time, neither of them was in a hurry. They spent the afternoon browsing books together before walking to a nearby park with fresh cups of coffee in their hands. Sitting on a wooden bench beneath tall trees, they talked for hours about life, dreams, and the little things that made them happy. As the weeks turned into months, their unexpected reunion became the beginning of a beautiful friendship. They explored the city together, visited museums, attended music festivals, and discovered small cafes hidden in quiet neighborhoods. Every outing ended with coffee and long conversations. Emma encouraged Daniel whenever work became stressful. She reminded him that success wasn't measured only by promotions but by creating something meaningful. Daniel believed in Emma's dream of becoming a writer more than anyone else. One evening, he surprised her with a beautiful leather journal. "I think the world deserves to read your stories," he said. Emma held the gift close to her heart. "No one has ever believed in me this much." She began writing every night. Months later, life became more challenging. Daniel's company lost an important project, leaving him discouraged. At the same time, Emma's father became seriously ill, forcing her to spend more time at the hospital. Without being asked, Daniel stayed by her side. He brought coffee during long hospital visits, helped her with errands, and reminded her to take care of herself. When Daniel struggled with self-doubt, Emma returned the same kindness. She encouraged him not to give up and reminded him of the talented, compassionate man she had first met in the cafe. Their friendship slowly became something much deeper. Neither of them had planned to fall in love. It simply happened. One evening, while walking along a quiet riverside after dinner, they paused to watch the sunset paint the sky with shades of orange and pink. Daniel looked at Emma. "You know," he said softly, "every important memory I have from the past year somehow involves a cup of coffee, and you." Emma smiled. "I was just thinking the same thing." Their eyes met. Without saying another word, Daniel gently reached for her hand. Emma didn't pull away. Instead, she smiled as their fingers intertwined. In that silent moment, both of them understood what their hearts had been trying to tell them for months. Their story had started with an accident. Now it had become love. Neither of them knew what the future would bring, but they were certain of one thing. Wherever life led them, they wanted to face it together, one cup of coffee, one conversation, and one beautiful day at a time.
5 years passed, and the love between Emma and Daniel only grew stronger with time. They had celebrated countless milestones together, overcome unexpected challenges, and never stopped supporting one another. Through every success and every setback, one tradition remained unchanged: they always made time to share a cup of coffee together. One crisp autumn morning, Daniel asked Emma to meet him at the little cafe where they had first met. Curious but excited, she agreed. As Emma stepped inside, she immediately noticed something was different. The cafe had been beautifully decorated with white flowers, fairy lights, and candles. Soft piano music played in the background, and the familiar corner table where they had shared their first conversation was covered with photographs from every stage of their journey. There were pictures of their first vacation, birthday celebrations, quiet evenings together, and snapshots of ordinary moments that had become extraordinary because they were shared. Emma's eyes filled with tears. "You planned all of this?" she whispered. Daniel smiled warmly. "Every detail." He walked her to the same table where their story had begun. Waiting there were 2 cups of caramel latte, the exact drinks they had ordered on the day they first met. Daniel gently picked up one of the cups. "Do you remember what happened here?" he asked. Emma laughed through her tears. "How could I forget? I spilled coffee all over your favorite white shirt. And it turned out to be the best accident of my life," Daniel replied. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The entire cafe seemed to disappear as they looked into each other's eyes. Daniel reached into his pocket and slowly removed a small velvet ring box. Then, with a deep breath, he knelt on one knee. "Emma," he began, his voice filled with emotion, "the day we met, I thought I had simply walked into a coffee shop. I had no idea I was walking into the greatest blessing of my life." Tears streamed down Emma's cheeks. "You've believed in me when I doubted myself. You've stood beside me during every difficult season. You've made ordinary days feel extraordinary just by being there. Every morning is brighter because you're in it, and every dream feels possible because we dream together." He opened the ring box, revealing a sparkling engagement ring. "So today, I want to ask you one question." Daniel smiled. Will you spend the rest of your life sharing coffee, adventures, laughter, and every tomorrow with me? Emma covered her mouth, overwhelmed with happiness. Without hesitation, she nodded. Yes, she whispered. Then she laughed through happy tears. Yes, of course I will. The cafe erupted into applause as friends, family members, and even the baristas, who had secretly helped Daniel plan the surprise, stepped out from their hiding places to celebrate. A few months later, Emma and Daniel were married in a beautiful outdoor ceremony surrounded by the people they loved most. At the reception, guests smiled as each table featured tiny coffee cups as decorations, honoring the simple moment that had brought the couple together. Years later, they often returned to that same cafe with their two young children. Sitting by the window, they would tell them the story of how one accidental coffee spill changed everything. Their children always laughed at the idea that such a small accident could create such a wonderful life. Daniel would smile at Emma before raising his coffee cup. "Here's to unexpected moments," he would say. Emma would gently clink her cup against his. "And to choosing love every single day." As the sun set outside the cafe windows, they realized that true love doesn't always begin with grand gestures. Sometimes, it begins with a simple act of kindness, a warm smile, and a single cup of coffee, proving that the smallest moments can lead to a lifetime of happiness.